mix. They would put the kerosene. No, they put the sugar in a spoon, and then pour some kerosene on it, and you would swallow that, and it would help to loosen up the cold. Yeah. It's you would think that you would be afraid of that, a flame coming if you went near the went near a fire. To heal a punctured wound or to keep an infection out. For example, if you stepped on a rusty nail, that was one of the things that you were always cautious of, because you didn't wear shoes in the summer. You were lucky enough that if you were lucky enough to have a pair of Sunday shoes and a pair of work shoes, we went barefoot all summer. So that's why we're pointing out the rusty nail. Okay, so if you stepped on a rusty nail, they would take mixed turpentine and kerosene oil together and rub that wound with that for it to heal. And a lot of times they would also put a piece of the salt pork. It would draw the poison out of that wound. Okay. For a newborn baby, if they had a hives on, it was a rash and they call it a hive, they'd boil the leaves of catnip tea and give the tea to the baby to drink, and it would bring that hive out. It's like measles. If measles go in you, it could kill you. Okay, so if somebody has measles, you want them to have a full case of it, because it'll eat your insides, I'm told. Okay. For teething, they thought that if when a baby was teething, they'd have pain. They said they put a grasshopper nest on a string and tied it around the baby's neck. So I don't know whether it was effective or you just thought it was, but this is what they did. And I'd like for people to add to this list, because that's just a few things that I remember about this. So this is I would say these are some parting thoughts here. The next time you feel like God can't use you, just remember, Noah was a drunk. Abraham was too old. Isaac was a daydreamer. Jacob was a liar. Leah was ugly. Joseph was abused. Moses had a stuttering problem. Gideon was afraid. Samson had long hair and was a womanizer. Rahab was a prostitute. Jeremiah and Timothy were too young. David had an affair and was murdered. Elijah was suicidal. Isaac preached naked. Jonah ran from God. Naomi was a widow. Job went bankrupt. John the Baptist ate bugs. Peter denied Christ. The disciples fell asleep while praying. Martha worried about everything. The Samaritan woman was divorced more than once. Zacharias was too small. Paul was too religious. Timothy had an ulcer. Lazarus was dead. No more excuses now. God can use you to your fullest potential. Besides, you are the message. You are the message. You are just the messenger. Share the above with some friends. In the circle of God's love, God is waiting to use you and your potential. God grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, the courage to change the one I can, and the wisdom to know it's me. thank you. That's just a bits and pieces. One other thing I'd like to share is that anymore we don't use every church used to have a bell. And the bell, you would ring the bell for certain activities, events, happenings in the community, okay? So the bell, we didn't have telephones in the 40s, the 50s, and many not in the 60s. So there was a designated person to ring the church bell if somebody was seriously ill or somebody died in the community. That person would go to the church and ring the bell, get on a horse, go around the neighborhood and tell the news. So-and-so is very sick or somebody is very ill. And they would go from house to house. Somebody else would pick it up and go around and let everybody know what was going on. And there was a certain tone to the bell for a death was different from other activities. There was a meeting that was going to be happening. The death bell was different. And I've forgotten what they called that, but that was a different tone to the bell. So that was one of the other things, the way people communicated in the neighborhoods. It's amazing how people knew how to get a message around in whatever era that we lived in. So thank you very much. I hope this will encourage somebody to look into the family history and add to it, make it grow. There's one of the websites that I'm familiar with is Ancestry.com. And what other one that you would recommend? What other site that you would recommend for getting family history?
Actually, I'll tell you what, you know the best site for me? It's called Live History. You're actually interviewing people such as yourself and others that can actually give us the details, because what Ancestry.com does is they'll tell you what's written and what's recorded,
Right.
but they can't tell you the experiences. So there's another one I think called where they do like a DNA trace to see where your genes come from, but ancestors, that in terms of information, is definitely one of the best ones. But I appreciate actually just simply hearing it, you know, and being able to see it, record it, experience it, because that does a lot more justice than just simply reading. But something like Ancestry.com.
Yeah, that was. I really enjoyed talking with family members, and I'm with you on that, because they made it come alive. Sometimes there was humor in things. Sometimes there was the questions. There were times when there were sad moments that came up, but you could feel the difference in what people were talking about. You could feel it, and it meant a lot to me to be able to talk to family members about it. Benny would share a lot of things, and in sharing, it would be, you know, a giggle here and there, and it would letting you know that this what it meant to them at the time. And Lucille would do the same thing. She would kind of laugh. You would know that was a funny time, a fun time for her. And yeah, it was. I thought how profound that was to have that opportunity to talk with these people. And I want to thank you for taking the time to do this. And we're going to get this book together. And I'd like very much for people to read these family stories. And like I said, add to them. This is not the end of this. We want families to make their contribution, so our children won't won't be left not knowing anything about who they are, where they came from, and whatever. So the rest of the stories are here, and I hope that they will get put together.
They will.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your time. Your time is a good time. Anytime.
This is great. I'm gonna have to come back and take some time and just revisit
Yes, ma'am.
these things. So,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, and I really would like to have this put into that book. This is a copy of Mom and Dad's marriage license, a copy of Grandma Dennis and Grandma Emma's marriage license, and a copy of Daddy's father and his mother's marriage license. So, yeah, just to be able to see what they look like.
Yes, ma'am.
When I went into the place in Winsboro, Louisiana, is where my dad got their marriage license, because he and Mama got married in Wisner, Louisiana. Just walking into that place, there was a different feeling. It was something different about that. It touched me in a way to say that my parents had walked into this same place. So it might not mean too much to somebody, but it meant a lot to me. And so that's where I'm coming from.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks a whole bunch.
Yes, ma'am.
Here we go. This is great.
Thank you once again.
You're welcome. This is just the beginning of the story. But it's a start. Yeah, this is a start for me.